The shock landed early in the morning, when word spread that King Misuzulu would no longer lead the Soweto anti-GBV march that had drawn thousands of supporters and civil society groups. For days, the event had been promoted as a rare moment where a monarch would stand shoulder to shoulder with ordinary citizens against the violence ravaging the country. Everything was set, routes planned, security briefings completed, crowds already gathering. Then, at the final hour, the king's office announced his withdrawal, sending confusion through the organizers and disappointment through the people who had traveled long distances to walk with him. What had looked like a moment of national unity dissolved into a cloud of unanswered questions. As the morning continued, the details behind his sudden withdrawal began to surface. According to the king's advisors, new threats had emerged, credible ones, suggesting that attending the march would put the monarch at risk. His traditional security team reportedly raised concerns about both the route and the size of the crowd, warning that the vulnerabilities were too large to ignore. Behind the scenes, there were frantic consultations between law enforcement, royal protectors, and event organizers, trying to find a solution that would allow him to participate safely, but every option collapsed under the weight of risk. The king, they said, was deeply frustrated because he had personally insisted on making the march part of his public stance against gender-based violence. Still, the threat was too serious to brush aside. That frustration lingered in Soweto as groups who had come specifically to see him tried to make sense of the development. For many, his presence was not just ceremonial. It symbolized the recognition that GBV is not merely a social problem, but a national crisis needing voices with influence and authority. The disappointment felt by the crowd spoke to how desperate the country is for leadership in the fight against violence against women and children. Yet the tension around his security added another layer to the story. Even in moments meant to unite people and bring hope, political and security realities remain powerful forces able to shift the entire direction of an event. His supporters expressed concern that someone might be intentionally trying to disrupt his public engagements or undermine his role in national conversations. By midday, attention shifted to what this withdrawal meant for both the royal household and the broader political environment. Some analysts argued that the king's increasing involvement in social issues has placed him at the center of power struggles he didn't fully anticipate. Others suggested the threats signaled deeper tensions around traditional leadership, visibility, and influence. The march continued, but the absence of the monarch left a noticeable gap. His message condemning GBV was read on his behalf, reminding people why the event existed in the first place. But the energy was different without his physical presence. Behind the scenes, questions rose about the capability of security agencies to protect high-profile figures in public spaces, especially during peaceful civic actions. As the day closed, the king's office released a follow-up statement reaffirming his commitment to the fight against GBV and promising to participate in future public campaigns once security assessments allowed it. The debate over what really happened, who issued the threats, and whether this withdrawal signals deeper political fractures continues to swirl. But one truth settled over the country. Even the most powerful figureheads are not shielded from the turbulence shaping South Africa's public life. And the march, despite the surprise setback, became a reminder that the struggle against GBV must continue with or without the presence of a monarch. Because the urgency of the crisis is larger than any single figure, even one who carries the weight of a kingdom.